on my website, it kind of explains like this is the but maybe everybody go there thinking they're gonna get everything for free. So when you break off the countries into their like these states that have to say, and maybe we can start getting some names together. Maybe we get some signatures together and living with people with the same ideologies. And there's nothing. Be honest. Now it was a party at one time. All right, welcome back, everybody. What a great introduction by Sarah, my producer. This is Johnny the Chooch coming to you once again from Pennsylvania. All right, today is, what is today? Today's May 7th. Again, we're coming from Pennsylvania. It's our 9th show. Really new in this business. Unfortunately, a guy like myself, middle-class guy, instead of going out and drinking beer and hanging out all the time and having some fun, guys like myself now have to fight the influences of this country that is split up into two. The reason why I'm even doing this podcast is because our country is a effing mess. Okay, just watch the TV. Look outside. It's crazy. Okay, never seen it like this in my life. And there's no turning back, by the way. No turning back. This is getting to be a form of survival where you're going to have to survive the apocalyptic takeover of the crazies and the bad people. So what this is a podcast that's based on a website that's called uuamericans.com. I created a website. uuamericans.com stands for the Ununited States of America. Growing up and coming to the age that I am, have never seen people act the way they do towards each other, especially politically. I've never seen two political parties in my life act the way they do, as they do in this country now. America has just turned into a platform for enabled delinquent people to live off middle-class people, and the millionaire class is playing a chess game with everybody's lives. And it's more apparent each and every day. This is a podcast and a website that does not pick a side, though. I want to be clear about this. We do not pick sides. To me, everybody's right. Everybody's right. Because we really don't know really right from wrong anymore. Who's really right? Who's running the country? Who's running the galaxy or the world? Whoever's behind all this. I don't know. At this point, I really don't know what is right and what is wrong. So what we do is we come up with solutions as far as this problem. The solution is on my website, I do break it down, is that to break up the country, break up the states and allow states to become territories or countries of their own. Okay, Europe, right? We're going to use the blueprint of Europe, right? Europe is a bunch of countries. They each have their own laws, rules, constant, whatever the case may be, on this continent, and they somehow trade with each other, and the tourists go back and forth to the countries. And then, of course, they have a UN force that supposedly, protects the continent. That's the direction I feel we need to go in. We just have too many people with too many different ideologies, too many different religions. God, country, family is out the door for half the country. They don't believe in either one of those three. The other half does. I still am a traditional person. I do believe in those things. I believe they work. But people like myself and the people on I guess that's sort of a side, picking a traditional side. I guess I'm picking a side in a sense, but it doesn't mean that I feel my side is any better than any other side. I'm just saying that it's different than the other side. The ideologies of how I want to live and other people want to live are different, which is causing complications and frictions in the country, which is causing people, taxpayers, money, and your life is becoming minimal to do things and to make yourself happy. It seems like there's always roadblocks and things of that nature, and it's just not a great environment, especially the one I grew up in. I came through. I was a teenager in the '80s. Went through the '90s, and the beginning of the 2000s was really, really, really a great time. What a really good time. I'm glad I grew up in those times. And unfortunately, in my latter part of my life, it seems like talking about an issue on this podcast about how bad this country is. I put a lot of blame on the government. We have a horrible government. It's a fraud, narcissistic piece of junk that runs our country from the top down, as I'm starting to see more and more. We can't really count on any one person anymore. I don't think we could for a long time. But the current administration is doing a couple of things that I believe in. The borders, deporting people that shouldn't be here, especially criminal elements. It works well with the economy, and so if you got your foot in, a little investments in market, he'll do good for you. But the interior of the country, we haven't moved it a centimeter yet. So a little bit about the website real quick. If you go there, you look at it. There's actually a real way that you can split up the countries. It's called using the Article 5 of the Constitution. It's 3/4 of the states, or all the states, get together in a convention of states, and 3/4 of the states, the governors, can vote and change amendments to the Constitution. They can pretty much do anything they want. If you get 3/4 of a vote of the governors, of course, this is sort of a petition wielding podcast and website, meaning if you can go to the website and just say, yeah, I agree with you, man. We need to break up the country. We need to let people live in countries or territories on this continent that want to live with each other with the same ideologies. Just let me know. The Constitution should be burned and ripped up. It's no good. It's no good anymore. It was good at the point in time when it was written. It worked for a little while, but then everybody started tearing it apart and calling it a living, breathing policy. And then everybody, lawyers jumped involved, and judges got involved and started picking it apart, splitting hairs with it. And then now, really, none of the policies, none of the rules really, really work. They're always fought over. Nothing's agreed on, and we can't get a 70-30, 60 vote across this country as far as the Senate, Congress. Even people, as far as polls, can get on board with majority of what's going on, because we keep fighting over these things. So you get half the country, or some even if you get a 70-30, 80-20 vote for certain things, still there's 20% of the country that don't like it, which causes havoc. And that's not where we need to be. So Article 5 of the Constitution can change these things, and it can free up the states, the territories. Hey, that can mean that you can take like the New England states, and they can get together. The 7 New England states or the 6 New England states, they can get together and create a little country. There could be 3 states in the middle of the country. North Dakota, South Dakota. you know, they could get together and form a country. So it doesn't mean every single state has to break away. No, you could probably form regions or provinces throughout the northern continent where people agree. So that's really kind of how it started out anyway. I mean, does really America and people across the country really get along? No, not really. Do you think the West Coast gives an F about the East Coast and the North about the South? No, not really. Never did. Never did. I mean, there's different dialects, different way people talk, the way people think, accents, different types of weather, and depending on where that weather is, people go down there to move and live a certain way. I mean, it's really, really not united. Never really was. Never really was. Every state has its own constitution, has its own government, has its own way of life. And, driving through them, a lot of times, you get pulled over, or if you're out of state license plate, they don't like you. And it's stupid. It's crazy. So, it's just time to do this. What a great time to bring this up on 250 years of the anniversary of the country. It's probably been, 5 years longer than it should have been kept together. 10 years maybe. 10 years ago this started, 10, 13, whatever years ago. So it's time to do this. Go to the website, petition it up, and let's see if we can get some movement going. Okay, so what we do too is everything that we really talk about. It brings us to, I think, brings us to the fact that we should split up the country. Okay, I think I'm really the only guy talking about this openly. Most people, watch one thing on Facebook or one news channel or one show, whatever it is, and somebody's taken a side. And what they're doing, the media, the government, the two sides are pitting everybody against each other while they commit fraud, don't create any real policy, and they are scamming the taxpayer for their money from under your noses. Most people know about it. Most people aren't stupid, but there's not a lot that people can do. So just to talk about a couple of things to bring up, the negativity and the reasons why people, don't get along, and why we need to get rid of this government and send everybody home. So I take a couple of things. Oh, but I want to mention one thing. So to see all these shows, my shows, you can go to www.thexlhub.com. Sarah, who produces the show, has a bunch of shows. You can go to her hub, thexlhub.com. The rest of my shows are on there. Her shows are on there. Also, you can go at thexlnetwork. That's a social media outlet for her. And you can check out what's going on with Sarah and all the things that she's doing. This is Johnny the Chooch, by the way. I'll say it once again. This is Johnny the Chooch. And we're talking about the country splitting up, hopefully, at some point. So some things come up in the news. So I always mention a couple of things that come in the news. Fortunately, I do watch the news a little bit because I got to see what's going on. And it kind of it gives me it reassures me that we have a crazy government that is worthless to the core. Okay, and and then people don't get along. So, for instance, I'm going to take recently there was supposedly a JetBlue and a Sprint airlines. They were supposed to merge. Of course, the government shuts it down. They shut it down. They didn't want an extra, airline of some sort because, there's not enough airlines, I mean, there's too many airlines, for people to get around. Actually, there's not enough. And that's a form of capitalism that I feel that was knocked down. Why? One of the congresswomen in there, the lady that they call the Indian all the time, Pocahontas or whatever, she had a big stake in this. So why do we do this? Why the push? Why is somebody allowed to do this? Why is a handful of people allowed to, say that these companies can't get together? You know, so there you go. So that's the government not working. Knocking down capitalism. And now JetBlue and Sprint are, they can't afford to pay people. People are losing their jobs. So and now you have one less, or two less airlines that are flying people around. So now your tickets will go up even more because all the five companies or four major companies that are left, they're going to split you up, and they're going to make sure that there's only four companies now, airline companies. All right, so getting to this administration, we're talking about Iran. Iran's big in the news. Okay. All right, started off okay. We get it. Nuclear weapons, Iran. I get it all. But why aren't we finishing the job? Why aren't we finishing the job? I mean, I don't get it. You blow up three-quarters of the country. Corg Island with all the oil on it and where they produce all their oil is sitting right there. This guy, the president, keeps talking about deals, deals, deals. You're never going to make a deal with these people. Just like that's why the country is split. You're never going to negotiate anymore with people from the other side, one or the other. And again, nobody's right or nobody's wrong, but people have it set on how they feel. And that's all there is to it. So finish the job. Finish it up. Take the oil. Take the island. Let the Iranians eat each other. Who cares? Same with Venezuela. Where's the oil? Okay, so gasoline is crazy now. It's almost $5 a gallon in some places. Why? We're exporting oil. We're drilling oil. We got the oil from Venezuela. You got this. The president says we got tankers of oil sitting in the water. Oh, well, we're waiting. We're waiting. What do you mean you're waiting? So this is a scam. Okay, this is a scam between him and the oil companies. They're raping it. They're holding it back. They're juking up the barrel, the cost of barrels of oil. It's all man-made. I don't believe a word of it. Gas should be 50 cents a gallon. We even get into the area of, didn't we doge everybody and cut down all this spending in the country? Where's that money? Okay, where's the tariff money? So between oil money, tariff money, doge money, our deficit hasn't moved an inch. Gas is still up, food is still up. Housing, we're doing nothing for housing. Healthcare still shit. So listen. Other aspects of what this administration is doing is working on one aspect. I believe we're safer. I do. That's the main thing. You have to be safe to operate. But the other aspects in the interior can't. Nobody's going to mess with us from another country right now seeing this. But you can't walk into like Harlem or parts of Philadelphia or Newark, New Jersey or whatever, or parts of L.A. or whatever it is. You can't. There's parts of this country where you're unsafe. You can't. You can't take care of yourself. And so why don't we start working on that? Why don't we start working on getting together and figuring out, who's messing up over here and causing, housing prices to rise here. You know why housing prices rise? Because people want to live away from other people. Okay. And then when you do that, you want to be safe with your family and everything. Prices go up, right? So we need to start doing that. We need to start letting people here protect themselves. We need to figure out why certain areas and towns and cities, as a certain person, you can't go and live, you can't walk through. Okay, so that's another thing. That goes along with Iran. I kind of went off into a little tangent there, outside of the Iran thing. So Iran, it's a bust. Not a bust for them or the oil companies, but a bust for the people. Okay. I noted, I heard of Canada. Canada's doing really bad. Okay, Canada's doing really bad. Socialist country, no money. And what's happening there is they have two provinces in Canada that want to break away and be their own country. Whoa, who had that idea? I don't know. Right here, the Chooch had that idea. See, people are tired of living around other people and dealing with other people, right? So one of the provinces has the most oil on the continent of Canada. Oh, of course, Canada doesn't want to let that happen, right? Because there really goes your money. So even in Canada, we have problems. Actually, there's parts of this country that want to break away. One of them is New York. The upper portion of New York City is trying to break away and be part of Ohio or Pennsylvania because the city's killing them. New York City's killing them with the money and the taxes. So, listen, this idea isn't like far-fetched. This is a real, and I think if the states could come to a convention and allow state breakaway, there would be more of this happening than you think. Of course, there have to be things worked out. How do you get from state to state or country to country? But you could use the blueprint of Europe. How do they go from country to country? Do they need passports? Maybe. No, maybe not. We have international highways, or international state highways, and are they, neutral? Can you get from, from state to country, not state to state, country to country to us? So there have to be things worked out, and as far as the security of the continent, which would probably be like a UN force or whatever the case may be, but it's not far fetched. There's actually some towns in California that want to break away from California. So it's not unheard of. I was actually listening to somebody on the radio. A guy was talking about the oil and what's going on, and he's the representative for like OPEC, oil companies. He's just saying, when a drone goes off and a drone strike comes, barrels of oil go up, fucking $20. It's like, bro, why? Why? Because somebody shoots, these guys riding around the boats in the strait are shooting a machine gun. The barrels of oil got to go up when they're all sitting. Another thing, I thought they were all going through the strait and they were being protected and we were walking them through and we're, the oil's supposed to be going where it's going. Are we in control of the strait or not? Are we taking it over? It's ridiculous. This show here and what's going on with both sides, by the way, it's just more and more reason to dump this government and the processes that it uses to run people's lives. Human beings shouldn't run people's lives. AI, polls, they need to do it. Believe me, we cannot keep putting it in the hands of people. It's real simple. You go into a state and you want a certain gun law, you want to carry guns, poll people, text them, email them, and let people answer. There's one phone number for everybody or one email, right? Let you know. Do you really need to, elect somebody to fucking talk about, let them make a decision for you because they never make the right decision anyway because they're all paid off and they end up, just doing it for the kickbacks and the health care and the pension for the rest of their lives. We know that. It's government. It's over. It's over. That more and more. As a matter of fact, I should just sit there and go, it's over. It's over. America's over. It's over. Get rid of it because that's really all you need to do. So he was talking about that and about the strait and the guns going off and why barrels of oil go up. Then he also said, we're exporting more than we can. We're exporting all kinds of oil, and it's going over to Europe because Europe's not getting their oil. But for some reason, our gas prices are going up because Europe doesn't have the oil, or their ships can't go to. This is a F, and this is a cluster F. This is a cluster F right here. Let's get into this a little bit. Wanted to talk about, okay, so here you go. So we talk about, I always talk about housing. I have, friends that have kids and stuff like that, and people are trying to buy houses even out here in Pennsylvania, and it's really hard. So we have welfare, we have Section 8, we have we're helping everybody that doesn't want to help themselves. Why don't we stop welfare for a little bit in Section 8? Why don't we, after a year, close off the faucets, and whatever monies we were spending on that or coming up with, why don't we help people that go to work? Why don't we do that? Why don't we help them get houses and cars? Why doesn't the government open up some of these lands in these states? The federal government steps on everybody's toes everywhere else. Why don't you go into some of these states and say, "Nah, you're going to open up so many acres. We're going to put on government houses, real houses, not government skyscrapers. In the middle of Pennsylvania, but build communities that are affordable. How do you help people out that way? Even if you have a raffle for them, whatever the case may be, do something other than keep fucking helping people that don't help themselves. Done. Everything is done here. The old ways don't work. And on that same note, Trump goes and gives Mandani, who hates him, who would slit his throat in a second, okay, and murder his family in a second, gives this guy $21 billion in New York to build, affordable housing. $21 billion for New York City, who can't stand you, who would tie you on the back of a car and drag you down the street. You gave them $21 billion. I don't care what political, leverage you think you're going to get from this. What about $21 billion for people in the country that want, to put up houses for people that are working? People that are working, and people that vote for you. People that vote for you, dude. At least, all they're doing is trying to put you in jail and murder you, and you're giving people. Don't understand it. Weird guy, man. Guy's getting weird, but that's a little bit on housing, whatever the case may be. I only have like 3 minutes, so I can't get to this here. But I do want to do within my 3 minutes or 2 minutes mention two things. It's funny, we're talking about people that are, again, everything points to breaking up the country and why people should, we should allow states to become countries. Half the country says that they have broken up with somebody, divorced, or have gotten, or are fighting with a family member, over politics. Okay. So what that means is that people fucking within families, within their marriages, can't get along over this. Half. Okay. It's a war. It's a war. And it's happening right inside the family. But they love it. The government loves it. The media loves it. The other countries love it, that we're fighting like this. Okay, so instead of appeasing them and making them money, let's kick everybody to the door. Let the states, and listen, if you have to leave your family and go live in a state that thinks one way, then that's what you're going to do. But at least you're going to live with people. So actually, who's becoming your family is not your family. It's the people that have the same ideologies as you, right? A lot of people get along better with their friends, right? And their coworkers at work than they do with their family. This is what this is coming to. People are breaking up their marriages over it. And I understand, because this is very serious. It's very serious. Now, we're going to get into policies and prayers and policies, and why it's so serious, because there's people getting murdered out here, and policies and prayers and what don't work. So we're going to get into that next time. I have about 30 seconds. What I would like to do in upcoming shows is go over part of the Constitution that I feel doesn't work. We're going to go through the Constitution a little bit and point out, things that don't work and things that are misleading and things that basically doing the same thing to the Constitution that I'm doing to the talking about the United States, the Ununited States, that it needs to be broken up. The Constitution needs to be ripped up. So real quick, www.xlhub.com. You can go and look at all Sarah's shows. Look at my show at XL Network. That's where all her social media is. Check us out there. Basically, the whole half an hour is up. The reason for this is go to that website, uuamericas.com, put in petition, let's break up the country, Article 5, Convention of States. Let's start living with people that we want to live around. And remember, on this show and the website with our talk, nobody's wrong. Nobody's wrong. Right? Nobody's wrong. Just in a marriage when people get divorced. Nobody's wrong, really. All right? So break up. Don't sit there and keep fighting and get the kids, hurt, the kids involved and your family's involved. Or break up and go your separate ways. Take what you can with you and go. This is the same thing I'm talking about. This country needs a divorce. Okay, it's Johnny the Chooch signing off. 30 minutes goes fast. We'll see you soon. I think we're going to film in a couple of weeks. Please go check us out. Go to the website, partition up. Thanks, guys. See you soon.